This is my new to me '03 Ranger, and yes, to replace my little Festiva that turned up missing when I left it at work over the weekend. I gotta address an issue with the battery here. Gotta pour some baking soda and water mixture on these cables. Battery looks pretty old. I'll have to check the water level in it and do a load test on it. And there's just a lot of dirt. There's evidence that there's been small animals running around in here. And I found something even more interesting. When I pulled this air filter off, it looked relatively good on top. But then when I started to lift this out, found another surprise. Don't know what has been living in here. If it's in there now, I hope it doesn't bite me while I'm messing with his house. Figure out what this material is, because there's some man-made fiber of some kind here and some leaves and grass. The man-made fiber kind of concerns me. I wonder where he got it from. Good thing we got an air filter, my goodness. You don't want this sort of thing getting in the engine. Actually need to get a vacuum cleaner in here. My vacuum cleaner is not even on this side of the street. It's over there in the mobile home. This has to be addressed immediately. And I don't know what else I need to do immediately. I'd like to have a parts list before I buy anything, so I don't have to keep running back and forth. I brought out about, I don't know, a little more than half a large drinking glass of water. Baking soda here. I hope I'm in the camera screen there. I can't really see. I'm outside. I'm trying to see. I think I'm in there. Throw a couple tablespoons of baking soda in there. And we'll just trickle this on the battery just a little bit at a time. Let me get a close-up on that battery. And I have a suspicion that we might be low on water in the battery because it's all wet on top, like it's been getting hot and boiling over. This will neutralize it. Everywhere where it looks wet, it should foam up a little bit. And when it stops foaming, then we've got the outsides of it relatively clean. I'm going down in the battery pan too, because gravity pulls this down. And I'm not going to pull the battery out yet. After I clean it and get the water level up, if I don't like what I get on a load test, then I'll take the battery out and get a new one, because we are starting winter. We're in the beginning of winter now. This is the last few days of October in the St. Louis area. It's already chilly out almost every day. We might still get 70 degrees once or twice before winter locks on. But we can expect to be in the between the upper 30s and the mid 50s. We can expect that pretty regular now. And it's only going to get worse. Well, I don't see any more major foam coming out, so I think I can just let that soak for a little bit. It's kind of dry right there, like some of it fell off and left a dry spot underneath. Let that soak for just a little bit, and then I'll come out with some clear water when I don't see the bubbles doing anything. I'll rinse it off with some clear water after about 5 or 10 minutes, and then come out and hit this with a brush and clean that up a little bit. While I'm letting that soak a little bit on the battery, I already checked the oil. It's a quart low. The oil is old. It doesn't look real bad. I was kind of tempted to just throw a quart in it, and then I thought, no, I don't know how long it's been since this oil's been changed, so I'm gonna when I go up and get an oil filter, I will get an oil change for it. It calls for 5W40 on the oil fill cap, but I mean 5W20, excuse me. But since it has close to 200,000 miles on it, I think I'm going to go on ahead and go with the 10W30. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that because I don't think the motor is going to know the difference, other than it won't be thin enough to be losing oil pressure if the engine does have some wear inside. Because that's what happens when a motor gets old. It's going to lose oil pressure inside the motor. But look how pretty these nice shiny new lights they put on it for me. They did that before I got it, and they says they were only like $40-something a piece on Amazon. And so I got to thinking, I need to look at Amazon and get some lights for my Jeep. And so for $90 for the pair, I went and got these, and they will be shinier than that when I take this plastic wrap off of them. So that's another little video we'll do. I'll do one of them and then teach myself how to do it, and then I'll do the other one on camera. I'm going to use my old battery brush. It's got the post cleaner in here, and then the this side here is supposed to clean inside these clamps. I'm going to use this because if I use a new one when it's this bad, it'll just shorten the life of the new one. Should just replace these clamps probably, but I really don't have time to make a project car out of this because I kind of had to buy it unexpectedly, and I did want to replace the the Festiva was something like this, but I hadn't really put much thought into it. I just knew that Festiva was getting old, and parts are hard to find for it, and I thought, well, I need to be looking for something. I can't believe somebody stole the whole freaking car. I'm surprised they didn't just take a battery or something like that, or something out of the inside. But anyway, I didn't see it coming, so I kind of had to hurry up and get something because I got to do some work on the Jeep. I got a new exhaust system laying on the floor in the garage that goes on the Jeep, and there's a lot of rust under that Jeep, so I don't know just what kind of trouble I'm getting into when I start on that. And I want to make sure I got time to do it in case it's a mess. I don't want to be taken off of work to finish it. So I got to have something, a backup plan. This little Ranger here is my backup plan. And so I'm just going to superficially get a few things out of the way on it. It's not a project car, not yet anyway. Maybe it will be once I get the Jeep done, but it's winter time now, or it will be in a minute. Okay, I'm gonna rinse this off some more. Maybe get some more water out here and do that again. The baking soda, all that can do is neutralize the acid. It doesn't do much cleaning beyond that. It does some, but not much. So to clean beyond the neutralizing of the acid, this white crusty stuff and the blue and green corrosion, once the baking soda's done its part, then the rest of it will have to soak in white vinegar. And that'll clean that up as much as it can possibly be cleaned. And then we'll use baking soda again to neutralize the vinegar, because the vinegar is acid and it will continue to work on this. Alright, I'm going to just superficially clean like I did here, since it's still starting good. I'm not going to take the clamps off because they might break, and I'm just going to do a minimum of what has to be done right now because of time. And this is a good day to work on it. It's Sunday. I don't like working on Sunday, but I'm going to anyway because yesterday it rained all day. So I'm going to clean up that side there. Then I'll go to the store and get the oil change for it. But I'm going to test the battery first. We'll do a load test on camera. Got this reasonably cleaned off on the top of these. I am going to change these cable ends, but not today. At least now I know that they need to be changed. I'm going to look inside of these. And those three are not too bad. And these are not too bad. It could take a little bit more water here, and this one could use some more, and this one, not that one, but this one could use some more. But it's above the plates on all of them. What I use is, you can use a basting bulb. I'll probably grab a basting bulb and do that because I got some clear water here. Or a lot of times I just use an old dish soap bottle that's cleaned out and then filled with water. You're supposed to use, what is it? What do they call that water that's clean? That distilled water. You're supposed to use distilled water or drinking water, but I don't. Excuse me. I don't, because by the time your battery starts needing water, it's pretty well wore out anyway, and it's not gonna last much longer anyhow. So I just go on ahead and use tap water, unless your tap water is extremely loaded with minerals and iron and stuff like that. Then you don't want to use that, but use drinking water if that's the case. Now, time for the load test. This is a simple load testing tool. I don't trust these colors, black and red. I'm going to look for a positive and a negative, and I see it. Okay, I see it embossed in the plastic, so they are right. But I myself am guilty of putting the wrong colors on. Okay, we're showing right at 12 volts. It should be sitting at 12.5 when there's nothing going on, when it's just sitting. So I'm not expecting anything real special when I pull this trigger. It's probably going to go down to the weak a little bit. Yes, it is. It's enough to start, but on a super cold morning, it's not going to do its job. But I did add water to it, but not very much. Could have had a little discharging going on with the all the acid across the top of the battery, because that will discharge a battery. So before I replace the battery, I'm going to put a charger on it for a while. Now that it's clean, just plain water is not a good enough conductor to discharge a battery. I mean, it might discharge it some over a long period of time if it's got wet, moisture on it, dew or rain or whatever. But acid will discharge it quick. Acid makes water a much better conductor. Got the shop charger on the battery. Going to give it a charge for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. I'm going to go to the parts store and I'm going to get an air filter and an oil change, and hopefully I don't need to get anything else for it anytime soon. We got a few more warm days here and there that that I can do work on it if I need to do something else to it. The owner said that the fuel pump might be getting intermittent. It might be needing to be changed. So I saw videos on that. It's not that big of a deal. You either take the tank down underneath, or you take these 6 bolts out of the bed. If these 6 bolts out of the bed will come out, then we can either slide the bed back or raise it up and work underneath it. I've done that before. I've left the bolts on the passenger side, just loosen them up about an inch and leave them threaded in a little bit, and then take these out on this side and raise the bed up enough to work underneath it. I don't know if I can do that on this one or not. And another thing, it's a little bit bigger job, is clutch. It's a stick shift, and it is going to be needing a clutch, in my opinion, because the clutch is a little bit bouncy and jerky when you take off in first gear. And every time I've changed a clutch in a standard shift car, I've never experienced that. Clutch was always really smooth. So I think the clutch is probably burned up a little bit. I went up to the auto parts store to get the filter, the air filter and the oil filter. I was going to get some oil, but the only oil they had on sale was a mail-in rebate. I don't want to mess with that, so I'm going to go to another store where I know I can get it cheaper. But almost next door to them is a Harbor Freight. I went over there and got this Bauer vacuum cleaner, so I can have one in both sides of the street. And I just fired it up. It runs pretty strong. I had to put the wheels on. That's nothing. You just stick the 4 wheels on with 4 Phillips screws that it comes with, and that's all I had to do. I'm going to go ahead and suck this out of there. I had it fired up and it was strong. I just thought I'd show that on the video. I'm underneath the front of the truck because I'm looking for a good place to jack it up. The oil pan drain bolt or drain plug is in the far back end. Sorry about that, I was pressing on the zoom button while I was holding the camera. I didn't know it. The drain plug is in the back of the oil pan, so if I lift up the front of the car, the oil will lean towards the back a little better for doing a quick oil change here. And I just wanted to see, is there a good spot to lift it up here underneath the front, or should I just go ahead and lift it from the side? Well, this is pretty solid right here, so I'm going to pick it up there. And when I took a peek under here, I saw this stabilizer link here. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing. I can probably just tighten this thing down because this bolt here is like it's never was tightened down or something. I don't know, or maybe there's. I'll look on the other side and see how it's set up over there. Get it with my foot. That one was loose too. I'll just go ahead and get some more stabilizer links, pins. Quick little nickel and dime stuff that only takes a few minutes to change. It takes longer to jack up the freaking car than it does to change the parts. So far, that's all I'm finding. And I'm just kind of looking around. I don't see a whole lot of oil running off the motor. That's a good sign. I might see more when I get underneath it on that side of this thing here. But that was something, finding all that bird nest underneath, or rat nest underneath the air filter. Draining the oil out, I noticed signs that we might have a rear main seal leaking. Something is leaking oil in the back of the motor. Rest of the motor, I haven't had a chance to look the thing over good, but I think this is where most of the oil that's leaking is going to be, in the rear main seal area. And that doesn't really bother me because with the high mileage it has, it's normal. And I do want to do a clutch on it, so when we do a clutch, the rear main seal is not a big deal to do while we're doing the clutch. Now I got to take the wheels off, and I'm going to try out a new toy that one of my newer viewers sent me. And I'm telling you what, this is quite a gift. I expected someday somebody will send me something that might be worth 20 bucks, 40 bucks, or whatever, and would be a nice generous gift, but I never expected anything like this. And if you see this video, you know who you are, and I am very thankful. And this is a Milwaukee, and it's their highest powered half-inch drive at the moment. I'm going to do it with left-handed here because I got to hold the camera with the right hand. Maybe you saw my videos and he's tired of hearing the compressor hammering in the background. Well, I got it turned all the way down to 1. Let me turn the power up a little bit. Put it up on 4. I really should do this with 2 hands. But you know what? They don't spin the bolts away and throw them on you like the air ones will if you're not careful. I'll go ahead and finish getting those off. There, I just dropped it because I fell while I was standing up. Brakes are good. I think I ought to, maybe not today, because I don't want to today, because I want to finish the oil change and there's some other things I want to do. But I think I'm probably going to pull these rotors and repack the bearings. But the brake shoes are good. I stuck a flashlight down in there and I saw that there was plenty of padding in there. This side here you can't see it unless you look down inside of there. And yeah, we can see there's still plenty of padding in there. I'm going to check the other side too. I did notice that the tie rod end, I don't know if I can get the camera on it or not, but I saw it from the other side when I was changing the oil, but it's got a broken boot on it. I'm going to check all of this, but first I'm going to pick it up under the wheels. I'm going to set it back down, pick it up under the wheels, check the ball joints. I have a suspicion the ball joints might need to be replaced too. So I'll show how to check that. To check the ball joints and the tie rod ends, these are the tie rod ends here. This is rack and pinion steering, and it's only got 2 tie rod ends. Some cars don't have rack and pinion, they got an inner and an outer tie rod, like on a big truck. Anyway, I got the weight supported on the jack stands underneath the springs and the shocks here, and the jack is there, but nothing's on it. That way I can take it back down when I'm ready. But I've got to get out and on the outside of the tire, and I got to move it. And what I'm going to do is grab the bottom with one hand and the top with the other, and I'm going to pull in and out on the top and the bottom. And I'm looking for movement that I can feel in this area here and in this area here. That's the upper bolt joint. And if I feel just the slightest little bit of movement, I'll ignore it. But if I do feel some clunking and I can see some tire movement, then I'll be planning on changing ball joints. And then I'm going to grab the tire left and right from the side here and then the back side, and I'll be jerking it hard left and right. And if I feel clunking and moving here, then I got tie rod ends I got to do. So I'm going to try to set the camera up. I don't have somebody to do this for me, so I'm going to try to set the camera on a little camera stand here that I got. Everything is tight except the upper ball joint. Upper ball joint does need to be replaced, but the way I drive, I could get through the winter on it, but I'm not going to. I will change it. I hope you can see that, because I cannot see where the camera's at, where I'm at. Let's go to the other side and see what's over there. On this side, we're tight with the ball joints and the tie rod ends, but we have a little play in the wheel bearings. I don't know if you can see that, but I can feel it. And if you're ever in doubt, you can always have somebody else step on the brake while you move the wheel, and if they hold the brake down tight, you shouldn't be able to move the wheel bearings. But the ball joints and tie rods will still move if they're loose. Motor's running. I'm showing about 14 volts. That's pretty good. I could test it even better, turn a bunch of stuff on, turn the lights on, wipers, air conditioner, fan blowing on high. I guess I'll go ahead and do that, and if it still holds the 14 volts, or even just loses half a volt, then we're still good. The air conditioner does work. Turn it on high. Turn the lights on. Wipers on. We're still holding 14 volts, or just a hair under 13, oh, more than 13 and a half. That is more than adequate. That's good to do that at an idle with everything turned on. Okay, we're sitting at 13 volts right after shutting it off. That's normal. The voltage will fall a little bit down to maybe 12 and a half. Now when I pull this trigger here, it's going to simulate a starter, and we do not want to fall down into the yellow where it says weak. We want to stay, I'd like to see it stay between 11 and a half and 12, no lower than 11 and a half. Okay, I'm going to pull the button now. Well, it's going down a little bit. We're down to 11. So the battery is a little bit weak. It'll probably make it through the winter, but I could buy another one. Anyway, at least now I know where I'm at with it.